James Bond is back with the highest grossing movie of the franchise in Skyfall. But did it deserve to earn so much money? Yes. This movie is really good. I'm Chad.
And I'm Matt.
We are so honored to present the 40th episode of our podcast. We used to talk about this at work. All right. So I do want to welcome back friend of the show, Josh. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being back a third time. Look at you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Ed, we appreciate you being here, and we appreciate, all of the sliding around of time schedules that we have to do to make sure we, accommodate 3 time zones. So appreciate you being flexible, man. You too, Matt. You too. But also I do want to talk to the audience for a second. We are 40 episodes in, and we would really appreciate it if on whatever platform you're listening to this on, whether it is Apple Podcasts or Spotify or hell, even YouTube, please hit like or rate this show. We're not asking you to write like a 20-page novel in the review section. Just hit 5 stars or just say, hey, I like this show, and hit submit. Genuinely, we would appreciate it if you guys could do that.
No, you're right. But yes, for y'all, thank y'all for listening, tuning in for our 40th episode. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I never really thought we was going to make it this far. I've always assumed that we was going to get bored with this and tether this out, but thank you for the ones that keep listening. We appreciate it. We're going to keep giving y'all more stuff y'all love.
I mean, to get on that train every time we have a milestone episode. Didn't think that we'd be doing this still. Didn't think that we'd make a new buddy from across the pond, as they say. Also, like, just a quick reference to the comic book we all read. I love that expression, our cousins.
Yeah, it's nice. I've never actually heard anyone say that in actual parlance before.
That's fair.
Unless it's a film.
But yeah, man. So next time I go to the UK, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna do my thing, but I'm gonna catch my cousin Josh, and they're like, oh, okay. Why is he white? Don't worry about that. All right, don't worry.
He's British.
they're all British.
Different daddies.
But all right, but what's been going on with you, Josh? We haven't talked to you since November, and what's been going on? It is currently January.
Yeah, it is. So it's a new year. Not much has changed in my life, which is usually a good thing. Just chilling out. Christmas has come and gone.
And Boxing Day.
And Boxing Day. You're obsessed with Boxing Day.
Yeah.
I want to know what the fuck it is.
I don't know. Actually, this year, I looked up the etymology because I was like, why is it called Boxing Day? And every year I ask people, and they're like, I don't know. And they all have their own theories. So I looked it up, and even Wikipedia doesn't know. It's just like no one knows where it comes from. But it's not like a special event. It is just the day after Christmas. It's actually quite a sad day. You get
the day off though, right?
Oh yeah. But I mean, that's it really. It's still fraught with sadness because you have to wait another year for Christmas.
That's funny.
But in my mind, Boxing Day is where that's the day you guys let out all your aggression and you can box whoever you want. It's like your small version of the Purge, where you're like, all right, I had this. I've been fed up with you all this year. It's time for me to put the gloves on and let's handle this business once and for all.
That's every day.
I thought it had something to do with you got all those boxes from gifts on Christmas, so that's the day you throw them away. Like Boxing Day, I'm gonna throw these boxes out.
That's the most popular idea when I ask people, but I think the term derives from hundreds of years ago, before that was even a thing, but no one actually knows what it means. But I'll go with that. Let's go with that. That makes sense.
So, do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Sort of. Yeah, I thought, I never do that because I always think it's quite arbitrary, and no one ever sticks to it, and I probably won't stick to mine. But if you give yourself targets, you can look back at the end of the year and think, oh, I've actually done something. So I've got a little diary here.
Oh,
I've penned a few things in. One of which was to finish that novel I was telling you about.
which not the other one.
No, the new one. The
Yes,
science fiction,
28 days later by Josh.
pretty much. Yeah, but it's going to take me longer than 28 days to finish, I can tell you that. Also, I read an article which was for writers, and it was saying you should aim for 100 rejections a year, which sounds really kind of pessimistic.
100 rejections?
Rejections, not acceptances, rejections. Sorry. But like, I'm always sending stuff out to like magazines and articles and stuff. And very few of them get accepted because they're trash, but
now don't say that. Your stuff is golden. They don't know what they're missing out on.
I mean,
I agree, but
sounds really good. Yeah.
The magazines are trash.
We got to figure out a way to get Sharon on an episode with you, because she too is a writer.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. I have much to discuss. Perhaps she can. Maybe she has similar New Year's resolutions. Mine was only 50 rejections because I think that's more manageable. But the idea is you aim for rejections, and then by the time you reach your target, because they're much easier to get in the first place, rejections. By the time you reach your target, hopefully you've got some acceptances as well. Maybe not, but hopefully. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, have you guys got any?
Mine's podcast related. I just want, this project, has been going on for almost a year, and I would like to just build more of an audience. So that, like for the most part, yes, Matt and I are doing this for ourselves, but it's nice to know that what you're doing, people appreciate.
Yeah, of course.
I agree. I don't like the listener count doesn't matter to me. I would like to see more engagement. Engagement to know like, hey, oh, that stuff was funny, or that stuff was whack, or like I really enjoyed this part. Like that part is where I wish that we can grow it to where we get more communication with the listeners. Not because if right now we have our 30 some listeners, if those 30 some listeners engage and stuff, I'll be perfectly fine with it. It's not like I need millions of listeners, but I just wish more engagement.
So for those of you listening right now, make sure to leave a comment.
There we go. Good job, Josh. Good job.
Got to always bring it around. Always be promoting. All right.
Yes. But also, of course, like in my professional life, like to, do better, move up, make more money, things of that nature. Also trying to get back every year, get back in the gym, work out. But when in doubt, blame it on COVID. COVID's the reason why I haven't been back in the gym.
Man, I was at the gym like 3 times this week with my mask on, doing my thing.
See, it's different where you at. See, in the States, y'all motherfuckers don't give a fuck. Y'all just be out there.
No, we don't. We really don't. Like, right, I can't tell you how many people, like I'm at the gym working out, and I'm like, damn, that girl is cute. And then my mind snaps. I'm like, wait, I should know she's cute because I shouldn't be able to see her face.
Exactly. But no, we have a gym on base where I could be going to, but no, I just come down to laziness. But then in my mind, I tell myself, oh, nah, see, you don't go there because a lot of people be in there. You don't want to catch COVID. So you being smart by staying away. So I'm just making up excuses for me not to go. But no, I eventually will get down there and start doing something and get back in shape.
Have either of you caught COVID
yet? No, thankfully. Yet. Have you gotten COVID, Josh?
No, luckily no. Yet. We'll see.
Yeah, right. So I'm on the TikTok because, I'm trying to stay with it with the youth. And I saw a pretty funny one where this woman, she's talking about how she got COVID, but she doesn't have her taste. And she was complaining that she got last year's model of COVID Delta instead of this new shit Omicron, because you keep your taste, your sense of taste with Omicron.
You got that old school
Right.
stuff.
Right. That last year's iPhone, right?
Yeah, I met a guy the other day who I think he had COVID last year and he still can't taste things
Oh shit.
or smell things.
Funny enough, we've had a few people on the show that got COVID.
Yeah.
Currently, my brother-in-law has COVID right now.
Friend of the show, Steve.
No, Japanese brother-in-law.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, so right now he has COVID and he can't taste nothing. So I was like, yeah, because he was sick. I was like, yeah, you can bring some Taco Bell because like Japanese people love Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they was like, nah, he can't taste nothing or anything like that. So I was like, oh, okay.
All right, so he eating nothing but salad right now, getting his health game on.
He might as well eat whatever he want. He can't taste shit.
Nah, that's the time to eat healthy.
Is when you can't taste the
Yeah,
you can't taste the
advantage.
grass, right?
So you reading anything, Josh?
Yeah, I've got a few books on the go that I can't remember. If I had them in front of me, I would just tell you the titles.
Is there anything coming up that you're interested in?
Yeah. I put this in the brief. There's a new Bond novel coming out, which I'm excited for. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. It's by. I've already mentioned it because obviously it's relevant to what we're going to discuss. It's by Anthony Horowitz, who's done 2 of the continuation novels so far, and it's called. What is it called? A Mind to Kill, With a Mind to Kill. Yeah, With a Mind to Kill. Which I'm not a huge fan of that title. I think it sounds a bit.
I mean, it sounds a little too A View to a Killie, yes, but
yeah,
I mean,
there's that.
I
don't
mean,
know. It's a bit unwieldy, I think.
I don't know. I mean, A Mind to Kill. So I'm guessing this book's about like a strategist or something like that.
I'm not too sure. All we know so far is that the premise is M is dead, which is pretty significant. Let me just read you the blurb, actually. So it is M's funeral. One man is missing from the graveside. The traitor who pulled the trigger and who is now in custody, accused of M's murder, James Bond. So yeah, and it looks like it's going to involve Smersh, who are the villains in the first few novels before Spectre comes on the scene. So it could be interesting. But yeah, the continuation books are weird because they all kind of disregard each other. So I think this is going to disregard Colonel Sun, which was the first one, which came out after whatever the last Fleming novel was. And then there's loads that come after that basically just disregard all the books that came before. It's really confusing.
Gotcha.
But it should be good. We'll see.
Yeah, I feel like the twist of that book is going to be M faked his death.
Yeah, it's got to be, surely.
Yeah.
You can't just kill him off, well, not off screen, but off page, I guess.
When is that coming out?
Let me check. I think it's May, at least in the UK.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to need your review of that this summer.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
So, Matt, what have you been up to, man? Are you alive over there? I hear that you've had a little bit of a tumble.
Oh, yeah. At 1:11 this morning, I get a loud ass alert on my phone. You know, you get like those Amber Alerts or whatever on your phone.
Is it called Amber Alert in the UK, Josh?
What is it referring to? I've never heard that before.
So, like when like a kid is missing and they'll be like, hey, alert on your phone. Look at this black station wagon or black Camaro. There's a child missing or something like that.
Last seen with this person or whatever.
I've never seen anything like that. No, we don't really get alerts like that.
Oh, yeah, I don't care about the kids.
No, yeah, there's too many of them.
Yeah.
Too many kids. We got to get rid of them.
Well, yeah. So, we got alert at like 1:11 this morning. And it was like, the earthquake is imminent. Take shelter, blah, 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 blah. So like we wake up and I'm like, wait, what's going on? And then the wife check her phone and everything. They say it's an earthquake. And next thing you know, our apartment starts rocking back and forth for like a couple seconds. So the earthquake didn't happen where we were at. It happened away, but we felt the ripples or whatever like
After
that.
effect, aftershock
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, aftershock of the earthquake. So this was the first time I've ever felt an earthquake. Have you guys ever felt the earthquake before?
I slept through one. We don't really get them in UK. There's been one in my lifetime, and everyone else in the house woke up. It was just like really gentle, and I slept through it. I felt really bad. But, that was it.
I remember we felt one in our area maybe 10 or 15 years ago. And like I was sleeping, like the rumble kind of woke me up, but then I went back to sleep. And then I saw on the news that day, they were like, it's so unprecedented that there was an earthquake in the Midwest.
Right. Because my son slept through it. And then I checked other friends in here. They was like, a lot of people, if they didn't get that alert to wake them up, then they wouldn't have felt it. Like, if we didn't get the alert to wake us up, we probably would have slept it too. Because it was only like a couple seconds, just feeling it. It was just felt weird, like the building shaking for like 2 seconds and just stopping.
Interesting.
But
I didn't know you could anticipate an earthquake. I thought it just sort of happened.
I thought that it happened and then they sent the alert.
No, it said, let me pull this up. So I took a screenshot of it. It said it anticipated it. It said, earthquake early warning. Strong shaking is expected soon. Stay calm and seek shelter nearby. So they knew it was about to happen.
I mean, I guess if you're near like, was it plates, tectonic plates or whatever, like I'm sure there's like some sort of government agency's job to monitor that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, I mean, it was just weird to feel it. But the only thing is, like, once this happened, it was hard for me to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So as I'm going back to sleep, I thought of a superhero origin story. And I was like, have you guys heard of Crimson Mask before, that term?
No.
So Crimson Mask is basically, it's like a professional wrestling term. It's when, somebody's bleeding and their whole face is covered with blood. They'd be like, oh, he has a Crimson Mask. So as I couldn't sleep, I was like, oh yeah, imagine this town, city, universe, whatever, where everybody is born with a power at the age of a certain age, 10. And, of course, some people become just regular people. Some people become heroes. Some people becomes villains. But then you had this one person who didn't have a power.
Encanto.
Similar to that. But then during the story, some of his friends were getting beat up by a villain. And him, even though he doesn't have any powers, he rushes in to save his friends. And the villain just whoops his ass. And that's how he gets the Crimson Mask. There's blood everywhere. Then this old retired superhero sees him and was like, you know what? I'm about to pass my powers on to him. As he did this, and so as I'm dreaming this, right? I'm like, yeah, this shit is fire. It's gonna be a good story. So then I wake up, right? And I was telling my wife this. I was like, yeah, I had this dream of this, this, and this. And as I'm telling her this, I'm like, oh no, wait, this is My Hero Academia. So I was like, I had this whole story in my head. I was like, oh no, wait, that's a different anime. So I was like, in my dream, I'm like, oh, this is a fire story. So the only thing is, if I can get rid of the part where an old superhero passes his powers on to this one, then it won't be My Hero Academia. That's the part that gets people. So, but then let me get your thoughts, opinion. Crimson Mask. And when I really thought of it, he was a hero. But now, as I hear the title name, it kind of sounds like a villain.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it reminds me of Red Skull from Captain America.
So maybe I should be a villain then.
Yeah, like do My Hero Academia, but flip it around to where like it's a bad kid without powers, and a old aging villain takes him under his wing.
Right. So I'm in the works of that. But I thought that was a great story till I said it out loud, and I was like, oh wait, that sounds familiar. But besides that, I'm all about good serial killer documentaries. So there's one on Netflix called Crime Scene: The Times Square Murders. Are you guys familiar with any of these Times Square murders?
I remember seeing the preview for that documentary, and I do remember that Times Square used to be a very bad place before Giuliani came in and cleaned that shit up. Disneyfied it, if you will.
Man. Okay. Times Square used to be a wild place. When I say wild, all that sexual basically with other countries and your red light districts and everything else like that, that used to be Times Square back in the 60s and stuff like that. So cut through the chase, basically there was murders, and you know, this guy was doing this stuff, and during this time he would not kidnap these women. He would get these women from Times Square, drive them to New Jersey, murder them. And the reason why the cops couldn't figure it out, because the cops in New York, like during this time, you know, they didn't have internet and all the other kind of stuff, but the cops weren't talking to each other from county to county. So even though these women were getting kidnapped in New York, even though New Jersey is just right across the street, they weren't talking to each other. So he used to take these women from New York, go to New Jersey, do whatever, blah, blah, blah. Not to sound cruel or anything, but that's not the part you need to worry about. The worry about is like how the wild and sex stuff used to happen in Times Square. Because when you see Times Square, you see families out there, you see like Elmo and all these Toy Story characters doing stuff, all the lights and everything. But the thing that got me the most was about how it used to be like a sex area. And one thing I did appreciate is how they progressed. They showed how, like, you know, for example, it start off where like you had a whole bunch of sex magazines, you know, you books and things. Then it progressed to peep shows, to where you put a quarter in and you watch this thing for a certain amount of time, and then the screen would close, and then you had to put more money in. Then it went to that screen was closed, so you can just watch it. Then it went from just watching it to holes in the wall where you could touch the women and the guys. Then it went to live sex shows and all this stuff like that, where I did not know Times Square was getting down like that. And then, you know, of course, the murders and things like that, but that's a part that I latched onto.
Okay, so two things. One, have either you been to New York?
No.
Yeah, been a couple of times.
What was your impression of Times Square?
It certainly wasn't like that. It's weird. Normally, so first of all, even though I work in marketing, I hate commercials, or as we call them, advertisements. And that just really annoy me. But like in Times Square, like they sort of belong there because they're just everywhere, and it's kind of pretty, you know, all the lights going off. It's a weird place though. Even today, I bought a mixtape off a guy who.
Oh God!
It was just like
he kind of forced it on you, huh?
Yeah. It was that or die. So
yeah. I'm familiar. Yes,
but it was funny. I enjoyed listening to it. Yeah, it's kind of scary. You got people shouting. It's really busy. You're always on the cusp of a fight going off, and obviously all the traffic as well. But it's an experience.
Somebody's always trying to get some money. Like they've got those people dressed up like different characters, like Elmo or stuff like that. And it's like, oh man, I want to get a picture. So what they'll do is they'll take, like, you're taking a picture of like a building, and they'll take your phone and get a selfie with you on that phone, and then be like, hey, pay me money. Like, they're super aggressive. But so I went to New York for the first time a few years ago, and we went to Times Square. And honestly, I was a little disappointed because I thought it would be huge, but it's just like 3 or 4 blocks. Like,
yeah, that's what the guy said on the show. He said it's only 4 blocks this way, 4 blocks this way in this little square. Yeah.
Yeah, like I thought that it would be like if either of you are familiar with the New York Strip, the Las Vegas Strip. Like
I've heard of it, yeah.
I thought it was like huge,
Mhm.
like several blocks, but it's not.
It felt big to me, but in my country we don't really have anything on that scale, so
I mean,
I felt like a dwarf.
it felt
Well, I was going to ask that. Like, you have Times Square, and then in Japan you have Tokyo and Roppongi. Like,
Yeah.
what's the most
Piccadilly
version of
Circus.
that?
Yeah, again, that's probably smaller than Times Square.
I mean,
It's not
it
huge.
is, but like Times Square is small too.
Yeah, so it's even smaller than that. It's we don't really have a sort of a big outdoor space of the same caliber or anything really comparable in that sense. I don't know. London is huge though, but when I went to New York, I hadn't really been to London very often either. So it's all just big and scary to me.
Okay. So my other thing was I saw a documentary on Netflix last year called The Ripper, and it was about the Yorkshire Ripper, where it was like the dude was basically doing the same shit, where like he was murdering women in like different parts of London, and like the different precincts weren't talking to each other because it was the 70s.
Right.
So like that's how those motherfuckers got away with shit, just like do a crime in different areas and they're not talking to each other. So each precinct is starting from square one. Really, this was like his 5th murder.
Right. And that's where like the dude came off so cocky and everything. He was like, you've got a charge for these 22 murders. And then he was like, ones that you know of. And they interviewed him. They was like, they say there's no such thing as a perfect murder. But I'm like, dude, you was doing this stuff in the 60s and 70s where like he wasn't on some Dexter type of stuff. Let me clean up this stuff. He was taking all these women to the exact same hotel in New Jersey.
Oh my God.
So it just like, I mean, I shouldn't, it was interesting as far as that, but like the really thing that caught my eye was just how Times Square used to be. But yeah, and another thing I watched this weekend was on Netflix called Iron Fist and Kung Fu Kicks. And it's basically about a documentary about Kung Fu movies. So original Kung Fu movies, the star was a woman. So originally when they first started making Kung Fu movies, there was a woman to star because the housewife was the main target audience in Hong Kong. But the thing that got me that I did not know, they went through Kung Fu history and they talked about, like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan and stuff. So even though Bruce Lee was on that show where he played
Green Hornet.
Yes.
He was on the Green Hornet. He played Kato.
Yes. And then the movie that got him famous was
Enter the Dragon.
There we go. I knew he's gonna get it. But did you know he died before Enter the Dragon came out?
Oh, he was doing all those movies and he wasn't famous.
He was famous off the TV show where like he wasn't super famous, but he was famous because he did a TV show. But then he died in 72, 73. Enter the Dragon didn't come out till later on in 73. So he was already dead when Enter the Dragon came out. I didn't know that. I thought, Enter the Dragon came out. That's when the popularity and everything else like that was going on. But he was already dead by that time, which that surprised me.
Yeah.
But and the TV show Kung Fu.
Yeah. Wasn't that with David Carradine?
Yes. How Hollywood is racist at this time.
At this time?
Hollywood is racist altogether. But at this time, Bruce Lee said, hey, I want to make a movie about cowboys and Kung Fu and things like that. And they wouldn't let him do it because, an Asian man can't be a leading man. So then that's when they they later on stole his idea and did this. But it's a good documentary teaching about kung fu and about how before the kung fu TV show came out, those kung fu movies used to go to like the Dollar Theater and the black neighborhoods type of stuff. So that's where you get like the people like Wu-Tang and all these black people who grew up with kung fu movies and everything like that, because it was in their neighborhood to where, and they said basically how they felt how in the movies they were fighting the man, basically the black people could relate to the kung fu artists doing their stuff in the movie, and then how white people and mainstream didn't adapt to kung fu to once they got the TV show, the kung fu movie, kung fu TV show. But it was a lot of hidden stuff in there that I never knew about the kung fu genre and everything else like that. So if you're into kung fu, they talk about Jackie Chan. Oh, speaking of that, there was this company in Hong Kong called SB, Shaw Brothers. They could have signed Bruce Lee. They said no. They passed. And then blah, blah, blah. Then they had a chance to sign Jackie Chan. They said no, and they passed. But yeah, if you want a good history on kung fu movies and everything like that, I highly recommend it. It's not too long. It's only maybe an hour, some change. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay. So I like to waste my money, guys. And so I bought a new microphone at the top of the year, because I'm trying to do new things, with the sound. And also, like I've been saying, I would really like to record in the same space with people. And with my last microphone, it is the kind of microphone that will pick up like most of the sound in the room. And that's fine if you want two people on one microphone, but I like to edit with like different audio streams. And I don't like it when, you can hear the audio bleeding from somebody else's mic. So I bought this microphone, and I also bought what they call an audio interface. And so you would hook the microphone up to the audio interface, and then you can manually adjust the settings with this device. And I was like, man, I'm about to fucking just change the game here. So I was playing around with it yesterday because it arrived. I got it to work a little bit. And then I was like testing audio sounds because, I was just testing this by myself. And for whatever reason, when I was recording myself too, when I would play sounds on my computer that were only playing through my headphones, the microphone would pick up that sound. And so I was like, well, I spent a lot of money on something that does not work right. Because my concern is if I would have used that to record today, even if I wasn't talking, my microphone would have picked up you guys talking.
Oh,
that's annoying.
Yes.
Is there any way to fix it?
I don't. I messed with all the little settings on this, and I think that I probably need to have bought something more expensive, but least expensive. Like this was more money than I wanted to spend, but this is cheap in the arena of these kind of devices. So yeah.
I agree, because once you upgraded mics, I was like, I need to do the same too. And I was like watching YouTube videos and seeing what other people were using, and they were like, oh, I use mic, GXB TAC 98. I'm like, I should go look at that one. I go to Best Buy, $400.
Right.
Don't they know I'm doing this for free?
Right.
I ain't getting paid for this.
And I hate how like nonchalant they are in those YouTube videos. They're like, oh yeah, you want to start a podcast and you want to do this and that? Just buy this. And you click the link, $500. Excuse me?
Right.
What?
We doing this for fun.
Right.
We don't have those sponsors, but this is just us.
So yeah, I'm gonna return that, and I'm gonna look at some other avenues. But yeah, but on that same vein of wasting money, like I said, I'm on the TikTok, And some TikTok people that I follow, they're like Disney people. Cause like I'm a huge Disney fan. Like I've read his biography. I've seen so many documentaries. Like I've read books. Like I'm a huge Disney, like of not just the man, but like also the theme parks and like the company itself. So Disney has something kind of like their very own Comic Con that's just like a celebration of them. So it's like the Disney parks, the Disney movies, Star Wars, Marvel, all the shit that they own. So it's called D23, and they're gonna have it in September of this year. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it because I always wanted to go, but you know, money and life and COVID. But I was like, fuck it, you know. So I bought a ticket to go, and I was like, okay, that wasn't too much money. And then like immediately after I bought that ticket, the convention goer in me like reawakened because I you know pre-COVID I used to go to a lot of like Comic Cons. Now it's like shit. I have to buy a hotel room right now if I want to be anywhere near where I need to be. So I'm just looking at these prices, these elevated prices of hotels in California that are also open during the convention, and I'm like, this is highway robbery.
Won't you try Airbnb?
Well, I want it to be close because I want to walk because I would like to just be in the little bubble where I don't have to Uber or Lyft.
Uh-huh.
And also like I didn't want to have to like buy groceries and shit. Cause like this trip that I'm planning is just gonna be me.
Uh-huh.
So I found a hotel. It's more money than I want to spend. But I'm like 10 minutes away from the convention center and 10 minutes away from Disneyland by foot. So
But do you get a free continental breakfast with it?
you do.
That's all you really need now.
No, that's true. That's true. So it's also has free cancellation up until like 2 days before my check-in date, just in case I change my mind.
Okay. Are the tickets refundable if you don't go, or that's just not?
No, I didn't see anything. Maybe I didn't see anything about refunding the tickets, but I don't think I would have any trouble selling those tickets because like the event's already sold out.
Shit, might as well sell them now, man. If they already sold out, make a couple bucks,
But
double the price.
but I want to go,
Nah, man, they gonna put the spoilers on YouTube anyway.
man.
Sounds like Matt's
That's
trying to buy it.
right, man. That's because you never really been to a convention. Like it's like a different world, man.
Nah, what's the conventions where they show like the trailers of like Marvel movies? What are those called?
Yeah, comic conventions. Yeah,
Yeah, like I would like to do some stuff like that.
like they're really awesome. Like I don't know how it's gonna be during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like to do that. And also, it's a lot like the Disney like social media and Disney podcasts. There's a lot. And like if I could at least link up with like some people, do some collabs, because obviously I won't be on this podcast that weekend. But if I can, do some cross promotion out there too, that would make the trip worth it.
Or while you out there, you can do a on-site podcast with some people you link up with.
Oh, that is something I could potentially do. Yeah. Yeah.
Because maybe if you can, because the only reason I say that because I listen to wrestling podcasts, and then like when WrestleMania and big stuff, I know during that time a lot of wrestling podcasters get together and this and that, and they have like the old school wrestlers come through, and then that's a better chance for you to get to interview these people you might normally interview. So like if this is like a big thing where all Disney stuff is going down, a lot of different podcasts are going to be there, so maybe it might be a chance for to interview the actress that played something in a Disney movie or something like
I don't
that.
think I'm gonna be able to get some to that level, but I could definitely probably get some regular people that either are regular people or also have podcasts where we could talk about. Okay, that's a good idea.
Just in case there's some shit like that pile out, you be like, oh well, shit, I got a podcast too. Let me jump on this.
It's a good idea. All right. Look at you, Matt. Always be plugging.
Hey man, you got to.
All right, so we had some homework this week because once more I spent like $30 on a humble bundle of James Bond comics, and I'm really enjoying this series so far. These books. So this week we read James Bond 007 Idolin. So what so basically the story this time is James Bond has to go to America to extract an accountant that works at the Turkish embassy because she accidentally saw that some dirty money is being run through the Turkish government. And once they found out that she knows about this, agents are coming to kill her.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good stuff that you expect from James Bond. Josh, what you thought about it?
Yeah, it's again, I was taken aback by just how violent it is.
Yes.
Although it's a good story, so I enjoyed it. Very similar to the last one, really. But
So I agree, Josh. It was pretty violent, but I also like the story. I like how these aren't like world ending stories in these comics, like stuff that the movies can't do, because it's like it's just hey, go pick this asset up and bring her back home. Stuff happened, but like the world wasn't in danger, you know?
yeah, and also like unlike the films where he's going rogue every time, it's
Oh
just
my
a
god.
straightforward mission. Like, here's your assignment, go do it. Okay, and he does it, and then
I,
that's the end.
I mean, it's funny you say that because at the beginning of the last book, he went rogue when he murdered that man.
Yeah,
Like
that's
at the
true.
very but no, like I like it. So I like how funny this is. These books are though. Like I
Yeah.
wrote down a couple of quotes where once more like the running joke of shitting on his gun. So they was like, hey, when James Bond is getting a new gun and Q's like, okay, so I'm gonna give you a borderline manly 45 caliber. And the last line I absolutely love. It's not funny, but when the bad guy he murders, he commits suicide, and right before he does it, he says, "Tell them they should have treated me properly." And James Bond, as he's lighting a cigarette, says, "No," and the book just fucking ends. But
Yeah,
no,
no, there are funny moments, like when he comes to M on the roof and he's like, "Are you thinking of jumping?" It's very sort of tongue in cheek.
but yeah, I really liked it. Like I appreciate that this is its own continuity. So like there were a lot of references to like the last book where he's talking about how like every fucking time he's at the airport, shit pops off. Um or I kind of like the sexy stuff, like where he's like, I'm being a creep. I'm trying to have sex with this lady. And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like, just because you saved my life, we can have sex. And I also really like that Moneypenny actually got to do some shit. Like in the first book, if you guys remember, like the big overall thing of these books so far has been how MI6 can't carry guns in the UK. And they were like, everybody got their guns taken away except Moneypenny. And like James Bond was being such a fucking child when he's like, how come Moneypenny gets a gun but I don't? And they're like, she's M's bodyguard. Even though she's his secretary, she's his bodyguard. And so like some shit popped off in this book where a motherfucker came in the room and tried to kill everybody, and she took that gun and shot that motherfucker in the face. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a nice contrast to I guess, the films in that sense. Even the
Yes.
new ones, where like she's sort of an agent, but again doesn't really do much.
Yeah, I've got some comments about that when we jump off to the movie. But yeah, like you said, violent, like especially like on that in that same issue when they were in that meeting and James Bond shot that dude in the back, and it was just to keep him down. And then he walked over and shot him in the back of the head when he was down. I was like, Jesus, man, was that necessary? Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck is wrong with you?
if it actually feels kind of out of character, and also the torture scene, it was kind of
Yeah,
upsetting. I was like, what?
yeah. I'm
So, what
like,
kind
This
of
doesn't
James
seem
Bond
right.
do you guys like? Like, do you like the comic book more aggressive killing James Bond, or do you like the movie? I ain't gonna say basically less aggressive James Bond, or less vindictive. That's not the right word. Less.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which one do you guys like better?
I like the original Fleming Bond, where he's quite nice. He's like well, he's a bit of an asshole, but he's quite jovial, and he loves his food, and he hates his job. And he doesn't like killing people, but he feels like he has to at times. And then that's it, really.
I mean, if I had like I've only read one short story, so I can't comment on like book Bond. But if I had to choose between comic book Bond and movie Bond, I probably would still go with comic book Bond, just because like those puns are sometimes funny in the movie, but they kind of like don't feel right. And it's like when, in at least in these comics that we've been reading, when James Bond makes a joke, it makes sense for the scene. It doesn't like take you out the scene for me. Like he's violent as fuck, but also it's like, I don't know, like if you work for a government agency and they're like, you literally have a license to kill. As long as you don't kill the wrong person, do whatever the fuck you want to do. And he's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna shoot these people in the fucking face. I'm not gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, fair point.
But yeah, overall, I liked it. I'm looking forward to the next one. We're gonna read James Bond Hammerhead next month, and we'll actually be able to pronounce the title.
Yes.
All right. So this week we discuss James Bond Skyfall.
They weren't targeting her. They wanted her to see it.
Welcome to the new MI6.
I'm your quartermaster.
You must be joking.
Author PPKS 9mm short. It's been coded to your palm print, so only you can fire it. Less of a random killing machine, more of a personal statement.
I want to meet your employer.
How much do you know about fear?
All there is.
Not like this. Not like him.
Just look at you. Chasing spies. England. MI6.
She sent you after me knowing you're not ready, knowing you would likely die. Mommy was very bad. The two survivors. This is what she made us.
Everybody needs a hobby.
So what's yours?
Resurrection.
007 decides to retire when he is accidentally shot while on a mission by another MI6 agent. While away, M is terrorized by a former agent that she betrayed. Bond rejoins the service once he learns that M's life is in danger, and he does all he can to stop the threat from M's past, even to the point of taking her to the one place he never thought he would return to, his childhood home, for a final showdown. Sadly, M dies at the end of the conflict.
Or does she?
All right. So you're at friend of the show status, so we're not actually going to start with you. Matt, what did you think of Skyfall?
I really enjoyed this movie. Now, I really enjoyed this for multiple reasons. A, I like the progression. I like the progression that they showed from where he died to where he comes back to where he's not fit for duty. He has a beard. He can't shoot and everything else like that. Even it shows up when he's actually does get permitted to be out in the field. I loved everything about this movie except for when they went to his childhood home.
Because it turned into Home Alone?
Yes, and it's dark. Not dark in the sense of like grimy, dark in the sense of it's dark.
You can't see.
Right. So I loved everything about this movie till that part. And then, he had a, basically Home Alone makeshift stuff to try to survive. But like to me, well, I would have loved it if it would have ended like maybe M died at the courthouse where they was in there, something like that, and they captured him. But leading up to that, I love the whole story. I love the progression from the first one to this one, to where, you know, this happened. It continuously affects him.
Right.
And then to there now he's older, and they also multiple people mentions that, you know, this is a young man's game, and he's showing the effects of it, and you know he can't shoot straight, blah blah blah. So and M, the actress, what's her name again?
Judi Dench.
Judi Dench. Wow. Perfect
Chef's
in every
kiss.
scene. Perfect in every scene. We need. Is she still alive?
Yeah.
We need more of her in every movie. I just love her in general. What else is she in? Like anything recently besides this?
British.
She's not in stuff recently because she's basically gone blind. So she doesn't really do many films anymore, which is actually why she asked to leave Bond.
Okay. But yeah, I love her in like, cause she is like, I love her in Charge. I'm the shit, take charge, everything. But the only critique I have about her is that, like, I know you're head of this organization that of hitmen, killers, and everything else like that. Why don't she know how to do anything with like shooting people or anything else like that?
She's old though. Also, she said that guns were never her thing. So she's probably like, yes, in espionage, but she's probably like an analyst or something.
Oh, okay. But like Judi Dench, what every scene she's in is just like, she has the power of controlling the scene that she's in, where whenever she's on screen, your eyes are focused on her. But so far out of the movies we watched, I would say right now, this is my favorite one, minus the darkness at the end.
Minus Home Alone.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with most of that. I do prefer Casino Royale, but that is one of my favorite films of all time anyway. I really like Skyfall as a standalone film. I don't like it so much as a sequel because it feels quite disjointed coming off the back of Quantum of Solace.
I mean, but you also got to account for like there's a good amount of time in between those movies, like between the ending of Quantum and the beginning of Skyfall. Like he's been doing this shit for a minute. Like he's so confident in that opening sequence.
Right. And also the piggyback of you said, okay, if we were doing standalone, it'd be Casino Royale would be my favorite. But as a continuation, because the thing that carries this movie is a continuation of James Bond and the person that he's become and everything that he's been through. But if he was categorizing as a standalone movie, oh yeah, I'll go with Casino Royale. I love Casino Royale. But as a continuation, it's kind of like going from Iron Man to, you know, Avengers. It just shows the growth into whatever it is. But something like that, though.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, that's the things I dislike about it are for the same reason that you like it. I feel like there's a big chunk missing between Quantum of Solace and this film, where, you know, because he goes from being like a rookie essentially to being a veteran who wants to retire, and I feel like there's a lot in between that we don't see. And you have characters like Moneypenny show up out of nowhere, and you know, and just like he looks a lot older as well.
Yeah,
he actually looks older in this than he does in No Time to Die.
Right.
Weirdly.
Right. I'm sorry, we threw you off. What other thoughts do you have?
But yeah, and on the positive side, I do really enjoy it. It's fun. It's a good film. It's sort of ticks all the boxes. Really, it's got everything you want in it. It's gorgeous to look at. It's really stunning visually.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. That scene where he's fighting that sniper. Like it was Shanghai with those lights and you just watching the silhouette. Oh my God.
I hated that scene.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I hated that.
I want to say the cinematographer got an Oscar, but if it's Roger Deakins, he didn't.
Well, yeah, it is him, yeah.
But after our last review, I really liked the opening song for this movie.
What, Mister? I skipped that part.
Yes, I intentionally watched it because, just like the other ones, they draw me in with the beginning action sequence, and I was like, well, let me pay attention to this song, and I really enjoyed it. But no, going back to that scene, I didn't like that. I didn't. You can tell I don't like stuff where I really can't see things. So I understand the visual thing of the silhouettes and where Bond opened up the door. He couldn't see him because of lights and everything. And I can understand the thing, but it's like me personally, I don't like stuff where I really can't see stuff.
I get that. And yeah, the cinematographer was only nominated. I think Roger Deakins won for, was it 1917?
Yeah, same director.
Yeah. They collabed together. But yeah, like I absolutely love that scene. I like this movie a lot. Like I agree with you, Matt. Like as a part 3 to a James Bond where we're following a single continuity, this movie's great. But as a standalone movie, I don't think it's that good. What I don't like is like throughout the movie, he's struggling to like be the James Bond that he once was. But then when we get to the courthouse scene, he's over here shooting straight and being all James Bond and cool and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I feel like everybody was kind of neutered in that courtroom scene to make James Bond cooler. Like Mallory, this motherfucker's just shooting wildly into the air. Like,
you say that,
okay,
but if you watch it back, Mallory actually kills a couple of the terrorists. Bond doesn't kill anyone in that scene.
okay,
He actually misses every shot.
I genuinely will rewatch that scene.
He looks cool, but he misses.
And then also, Moneypenny. Why the fuck didn't she have a gun? And she wasn't doing shit either. I'm like, my thing is like, James Bond should not have had to run 15 blocks to get to the courthouse. And then he's over here like, oh, I'm smart enough to know to shoot the fire extinguishers so we can extract him out. Like, what are these? Mallory is used to be an agent. Okay, fine. Like, I know that Moneypenny's a little bit green, but like, what the fuck are you doing, girl? Like, I remember the first time I saw the movie, I was like, oh man, Moneypenny was fucking crushing it. But I'm rewatching it. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, girl? Like, why are you even here?
Yeah, no, she's useless. She only shoots one person, and it's her teammate.
Right. So I really thought that they gave her like a cool scene, but like you just had a scene where you got to shoot a gun. Like what? But you didn't. Girl, what you doing?
Well, I think like watching it, and I think I'm not sure this is the right word, the aptitude, the thing that showed that is James Bond was when he was on the train and he had the excavator out and he jumps off the excavator as it's pulling the back of the train down and he jumps and he fixes his cufflinks. I was like, it's that dude. That's James Bond right there.
Yes.
And I was just like, when he did that, it's like, that's James Bond. And I was like, all right, yeah. Now we can get this movie rolling.
No, I
agree. That just quick thing of him jumping off, checking the cufflinks was like, all right. It was just like, all right, here we go. Yeah, this is James Bond, and we off to the races now.
Yes, I agree. Also, I absolutely love that first scene with Q when he's like, "Hey, man, you like 4 years old. What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, the shit I can do with my cup of Earl Grey first thing in the morning is more than you could ever do in a year. Right. Like, so sit your ass down."
Yeah, up till then, he's always been portrayed by an old guy, hasn't he?
Yeah.
No, it's young blood.
But I mean, also, Q is a fucking dumbass. Because why would you hook up a computer from a bad guy to your main system? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, he was over he was too cocky. Because remember when he was talking about it, he was like, oh, who can do this stuff? oh, I created this stuff, and then when he got too cocky and he did it.
That's
But
fair.
I would like, I don't know the actor's name. Who's
Ben
the
Whishaw.
actor? The villain?
Oh, Javier Bardem.
I give credit to him that because of a great villain is somebody that you need to where you believe wholeheartedly they believe what they're doing is right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to his story, especially when he's in his cell, when he's talking to him, then he takes his teeth out and he shows what he sacrificed himself for the country. And what happened is like those are the type of villains where you be like, all right,
I get where you're coming from.
Right. I can see where they're coming from. And where all so far in what we've seen, you know, it's kind of like villain stuff, you know. I'm gonna take over this, I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna do a stock shortage, GameStop style.
Right. It's like, you know, it was like, you know, villain stuff, like movie villain stuff, where this one where he actually had a vendetta. He did the right thing. He did what, quote unquote, what he was taught, and now he's out for revenge. But his whole shit was good and bad at the same time, though.
Well, also, but the thing is, like, the reason M like betrayed him is because he was doing too much. Like, he started doing stuff that was outside of his assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why she's like, motherfucker, you're a liability.
But didn't you say earlier on the comic, fuck it, I got a license to kill. I'm about to do whatever I want to do.
He not killing people. This motherfucker hacking shit. She said he started to
Right, he started checking the Chinese stuff or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like she mentioned like this was in the 90s. This started happening in the 90s, like when Britain gave up power in Hong Kong. And like that was a very fucking tense time. And like you can't have motherfuckers doing shit like that if you're trying to have a peaceful transfer of power.
Right. That's where she gave him up for other people in return.
Right.
So I believed him. I laughed out loud when it's funny, I've never seen this. This was the first time I've seen bits and pieces of this movie before, but this was the first time I seen it all the way through. I laughed out loud to where, you know, Bond comes to the island with him, and then he was touching him. He was like, I don't know what your training has taught you for. So then he goes like this, and then he was like, the Bond was like, how do you know this is my first time? And I was like this, James, you out here like that?
Look, man, you gotta be prepared for everything in the field, all right?
I guess you just do it whatever you need to do, but I laughed at that part.
What do you guys think the Rotten Tomatoes is on this movie?
Leading off, your very first statements of the podcast said the highest rated one.
Highest grossing.
Highest grossing, I would say very high. So I will go with a 79.
I would say 88.
92.
Whoa.
I can't now. I'm not gonna look it up because we got 2 more of these to go. So I can't say if this is the highest rated Bond movie. I can't say that because I don't want to give anything away for the next couple episodes. But yeah, this movie like broke records. Like this is a very well received movie.
Did very well at the box office as well.
Yeah. Like fucking Adele got an Oscar and an Emmy. I'm sorry, an Oscar and a Grammy.
For what?
That song.
What song?
She did the opening song.
Okay.
You didn't
now
read
we getting too crazy.
You didn't read the words.
That song was cool. Ain't no Oscar. It ain't no. We don't talk about Bruno. I didn't know that. I mean, I thought the song was all right.
Skyfall shows the second time James Bond cries openly. When was the first? A, on His Majesty's Secret Service when Tracy, Bond's wife, is murdered. B, in For Your Eyes Only when Bond visits Tracy's grave. C, in License to Kill when Felix is murdered. Or D, in Die Another Day when Bond is captured and tortured for months on end.
Felix. I go with Felix.
I'm going to go with when his wife dies in option 1.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. All right. So trivia dump. In 50 years of James Bond movies, this is only the second time in which James Bond suffers a gunshot wound. He was also shot in Thunderball. That's the
4th one, I think.
Yeah.
Really?
It's a Sean Connery one. Yeah. Because he's
Wow.
got fucking plot armor.
Well, I feel like wow, I didn't know that. I figured, he gets shots all the time and just,
No, it's a movie.
Wow.
No.
Well, I mean, I didn't know. Wow, that's crazy. So wait, wow. So the last movie he never got shot.
No.
Wow.
Got shot at. I mean, he gets
But,
punched and thrown and
right,
probably
but never got
stabbed a
shot
lot.
though.
Yeah.
Wow. Because with the axes and shit and all that. Wow. Okay.
I appreciate that blowing your mind. I was thinking about making that the question, but then I was like, no, I got to think too hard on that.
Well, no, because I'm like, now you got me thinking, that in my mind, I'm like, that's a fucking lie. I'm just like, he had to be shot somewhere else in these movies, but I can't think it off the top of my head. I'm like, axe thrown, the beginning when he was running around and everything, there was no gunshot. It was just him falling over shit. But I'm like, I can't think of a time where he was shot. So maybe it's true, but it's still shocking though.
Right. All right. All right. This one's for you, Matt. I specifically copied this one for you.
Thanks.
Dame Judi Dench has more screen time in this movie alone than Desmond Llewellyn, who played Q in 17 James Bond movies, making her portrayal of M the most recurrent character in the franchise after Bond, as measured by screen time.
Perfect. We need more of her. But it's just like her and James Bond, it just seems
right.
It just seems like that is what she is like. They say like certain roles are made for certain people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she commands that role to where it's not like when you go to movies, you don't have to suspend your disbelief. You can visualize her being them with the government doing what she needs to do. So where it's like more of her on the screen, exactly what I need. But I didn't know about what she's going through now, so I feel kind of sad though. But yeah, she did great in this movie. More of her is what I need.
All right, last bit of trivia. Naomi Harris stated on the Graham Norton show that because she had to be using a real razor blade, unusual for a movie of such high value status, she spent 6 weeks with a professional barber training for the razor shaving scene and also trying it on members of the crew along the way. So I don't know why the fuck they had to use a real razor.
Wait. She said how long?
6 weeks training with a professional barber.
Wow. Why she took 6 weeks?
Because like they said, high value. Like if she accidentally cuts Daniel Craig's face.
No, I understand that. It don't take you 6 weeks to learn how to shave. That's what I'm saying. 6 weeks? If she would have said a month, okay, I can understand that. 6 weeks?
I doubt that she met with the person every day. All right. So we're at the end of the show. I'm going to skip the guest plug part because Josh likes to say that he doesn't have anything to plug, and that's okay.
What are you talking about? He might have something this time.
Okay. All right.
Anything, Josh?
All right. Yeah.
No. No.
He's saving it for the finale of the James Bond stuff. That's what
I got you.
Yeah,
you should write some James Bond fanfic.
Oh God, no.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. Please rate, like, and review our podcast on your platform of choice. If you have any feedback, please email us at weusedtotalkpod@gmail.com. Like our Facebook page, We Used to Talk About This at Work, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at We Used to Talk Pod. Once more, Josh, thank you so much for coming on. And I guess you are actually recording finally at a reasonable hour. What time is it there?
It's 2 p.m. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So it's been a great time as always.
It's always a pleasure. We're actually going to see Josh again next month. We're going to try and push through these James Bond movies with Daniel Craig so that he can come back for a regular non-James Bond non-British, but the lead will probably be British doing an American accent movie. So come back next week when we review The Boy Band Con with Jamie and Rachel, who have been on the show previously.
And they're gonna lose because you know why? NSYNC is better.
There's no context. No one knows what this movie's about. Like we have not publicly talked about what we're gonna do on the show. No, I'm not cutting this either. I'm not cutting this either. Do your outro. I'm not cutting this.
Well, then I'm gonna stick with it. Stay tuned. NSYNC is better. Now I don't know if this was a good episode. I don't know if this was a bad episode. But whatever you think about it, talk about it at work. Thank you for listening.